I'm Simon Cowham and this is Corey Ryan, and we're the Sons of Eden. We were established in 2000 after we learnt and refined our craft in the vineyards and cellars of Eden Valley.
Combined, Simon and I have over 50 years vintage experience in the Barossa Valley. Sons of Eden specialises in varieties that Barossa grows to a world standard, such as Shiraz, Mourvedre and Grenache from the Barossa Valley, and Riesling, Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon from Eden Valley.
Welcome to our backyard.
Welcome.
The Barossa grape growing region is one of the oldest grape growing regions in Australia, and it hosts vineyards dating back over 150 years, and many of those vineyards we still have today. The Barossa region is made up of two distinct valleys. The Eden Valley, which ranges from around about 450 metres to 600 metres in altitude, is along the ranges of the Barossa, and the Barossa Valley True, which is the valley on the plains, which hosts most of the vineyards, and it's one of the largest grape growing regions in South Australia.
Across both of those two valleys, we own and hands-on manage 12 vineyards, and in addition to that we take fruit from 14 generational loyal grape growers.
We take fruit from the coolest parts of Eden Valley, which grow beautiful Riesling that are fresh and bright styles,
to the warmest part of the Barossa, which is suitable for growing full-bodied Shiraz-style wines.
Winemaking is a combination of being creative and artisanal in your winemaking approach, but there's also a large element of science required to ensure that the wines are made and mature to their optimum.
We have 6 full-time vineyard staff to look after the vineyards that we own and operate. We handle everything from vine propagation through to hand harvesting, and our staff have a collective experience of over 100 years between them operating Barossa vineyards. We're very meticulous in ensuring we have control over every aspect of the winemaking process, from the vineyard right through to the final packaging. Everything we do has a long-term sustainable approach to it. Our aim is to nurture these vineyards and pass them on to future generations.
Welcome to the Sons of Eden Winery. It's located almost on the boundary of Eden Valley and Barossa Valley in the little region of Light Pass. The Sons of Eden winemaking philosophy is all about preserving the vineyard characteristics and individuality, and the way we do that is through keeping all the hand-picked parcels separate, fermenting them separately in small batches, anywhere between 1 to 3 tonnes of fruit. This means we have up to 100, sometimes 120 individual ferments for the vintage. The winemaking philosophy is about preservation of fruit character, complexity and individuality, and techniques that are used to ensure this occurs is a lot of traditional techniques used in winemaking throughout the world, where we use cold soak, pre-fermentation. We use a lot of natural fermentation where indigenous yeasts are allowed to ferment. We hand plunge with minimal pump overs, so it's a gentle extraction of flavours, colour and tannins into the wines. It's about getting involved in the winemaking only when it's absolutely needed, otherwise it just happens on its own. The Mystical range consists of 6 different wines of 4 different varieties. The Mystical range is a range of wines that varieties that we believe the Barossa grows to a world standard. The vineyard that we're in today is an 80-year-old Barossa Valley Shiraz vineyard, and the fruit from this vineyard goes into the Romulus Barossa Valley Old Vine Shiraz. The other wines in the range are Zephyrus, which is a Barossa Eden Valley blend of Shiraz. It's the Remus, Old Vine Eden Valley Shiraz. We have Eros, which is Eden Valley Cabernet. Celine, which is Barossa Valley Tempranillo, and the Freya, which is a real favourite, is the Eden Valley Riesling.
This is our single vineyard range. Because we work with over 20 vineyards across all corners of the Barossa, from time to time we get some really exceptional parcels of fruit come into the winery. and we do quarantine those parcels and make a single vineyard wine from them. So currently we've got 3 single vineyard wines. We've got Autumnus Shiraz, single vineyard. We've got Stavros Mourvedre, single vineyard, and Cirrus High Eden Riesling, single vineyard, which is this particular wine here. So we're standing in High Eden, typical Riesling country here. Nice rolling hills, contoured vineyards, and the wines are exceptional from this part of the world. I'd love to introduce the Tribute range of wines. We're so blessed here in the Barossa to have old vineyards, and the Tribute range really does pay homage to those old school growers that planted the old vineyards that we're accessing fruit from today. Right behind me is a Grenache vineyard. That is the backbone of the Kennedy Grenache Shiraz Mourvedre wine, which I'm holding here right now. Within that Tribute range, we also pay homage to Pampa, which is an Eden Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, and Marshall, which is a Barossa Valley Shiraz. The wines are very approachable as younger style wines, but will benefit from maturation. So what we're trying to achieve is really capture what we see in the vineyard in the bottle. And so Corey's job is to try to, his challenge is to try to ensure that that happens within the winemaking process.
As well as ensuring we capture the lovely fruit flavours and preserving the individuality of each of the ferments, we actually also strive to build a little bit more complexity into the wine. We use a lot of whole bunch fermentation, anywhere between 5 to 100% in our fermentations. This ensures that the wines have beautiful structure and have depth of complexity that'll ensure that the wine matures well for many years. After the fermentation process and the red ferments are pressed off, they all go to barrel. We put all of our reds to oak for a period anywhere between 12 and 36 months. The barrel sizes range from 300 litres to 600 litres in size. The larger format oak we really enjoy, and the maturation process occurs pretty much undisturbed. We like to leave the wine in barrel for that period of time just to build texture and refinement on the palate.
The final blending process is incredibly rewarding and obviously really critical. What we see when we assess each barrel is a function of the vineyard, the season, the winemaking and the maturation in one taste.
By assessing every individual barrel, we can really go through and ensure that only the very best barrels are selected for going into the Sons of Eden wines, and so we're not dictated by specific quantities at all. It's all about wine quality and by individual selection of unique barrels.
The best thing about this journey is working, if you can call it that, with some of the oldest vineyards in the world, and also working with Mother Nature as well. And the great thing about it is that once you pull all your fruits of your labour together, you create a bottle that is reflective of the season and the site, and that's incredibly rewarding and satisfying.
Each season is very different, and it's really rewarding, especially when you find the final wine to be an expression of all your efforts and the team's efforts.
Here at Sons of Eden, both myself and Corey really hope you can share in our journey.
See you soon.
See ya.